Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Happy holidays to you and yours. Everybody watching out there, we appreciate you coming on, viewing the content. Here to talk about Casey Thompson, Quinn Ewers, Malik Murphy, Hudson Card, this entire Texas quarterback room under Steve Sarkisian. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We just hit 11,000 subscribers. All y'all rocking with us from jump. I'd love to get to 12K in record time as we do like our 1,000 subscriber increments. So hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button as more content's coming. Catching up off vacay. Hopefully I'll have a phone maybe later today, so I'll really be able to communicate with the world. But I appreciate everybody jumping on and watching. And most importantly, I wanted to say thank you to our sponsor, BUSR. Happy holidays from BUSR. Guys, check out our holidays 21 promo on busr.com/fanatic. Right now, we're running a promo where we will be matching 150% match on all initial deposits. So if you go on busr.com/fanatic, you use that holidays 21 promo code, you deposit $100 up to $1,500. So when you get on there, the site will look like this. So make sure you go on, check it out when you get on there. Shout out to our sponsor, BUSR. So right now we're just reacting to the news of Casey Thompson entering the transfer portal. And first and foremost, thank you. Thank you to Casey Thompson service here in terms of leading this football team this past season, in terms of being here as a, ready when called upon backup the last 3-4 seasons, getting his degree and playing through injury, playing through toughness. These are things that regardless of, what camp you were in with, and all the political BS that we had going on here, when you're the quarterback at the University of Texas and you play through the things that he played through, the politics, all of those things going on. He has my hat goes out to Casey and everything that he accomplished here. So shout out to Casey Thompson. Thank you. And look, I mean, even moving forward, when you look at Casey and, just the landscape of college football right now, there's a lot of football teams out there he can help. There's a lot of quarterback rooms that would be better with a player like Casey Thompson. Under Steve Sarkisian's offense this year, he didn't even start every game. 24-9 touchdown interception ratio, very good for college football, including 4 touchdowns on the ground. And again, that's with the thumb injury. So while Casey, there's also a reason why he's in the portal. Just talent base, more guys around him, younger, bigger arms, better fit for the system. But when you look at, again, college football landscape, all the coaches moving around, you look at a team like the Miami Hurricanes, some of these teams over in the ACC, even teams in the Big 12, like a TCU, could he definitely go over there and compete with a Chandler Morris or, all the shifts and things that are going around? I would say absolutely. And I would say that he would improve. And the reason why Casey has to make this move now versus coming in and try to do the whole, I'm going to compete over the course of the spring, got to consider guys already making their moves now. Spencer Rattler going to South Carolina, Dylan Gabriel going to UCLA. Guys are moving around very, very quickly. I believe Adrian Martinez ended up at Kansas State, if I'm not mistaken. So opportunities coming about, get in the portal, get communication. But Casey Thompson being a grad transfer, but still having, I believe, 2 years left of eligibility, he's really going to be able to help somebody's quarterback room tremendously. I'm a root for him. I wish him the best. And hopefully he can continue to improve his decision-making as a quarterback, as well as understanding his limitations and using some of that playmaking ability that we know he has that didn't often get to be showcased under Steve. But thank you to Casey nonetheless. nonetheless. I mean, I know we went 5-7, and we'll get into some of the other things down the road. But as we transition here, I'm always grateful for the kids that came here and played their ass off for the school and did the best they could and wanted to play ball, especially considering the culture problems we've had here at Texas over the last few years, where people are just happy to be on the team. So best of luck. Best of luck to Casey. Now, the big dog that came in, we had two, Malik Murphy, who I touched on in my return video that dropped yesterday. Make sure y'all go check that out. But the other, the big dog that we've talked about, we did a 2-hour live on Quinn Ewers, right? And when you look at Quinn Ewers now being in the mix here officially at Texas, coming out of the portal way of Ohio State, and the profile, the just the overall talent, ability, the landscape, everything that comes with Quinn Ewers coming on board here, in combination with Steve Sarkisian, in combination with this quarterback room that still, as of right now, has Hudson Card, Malik Murphy being in the fold, Charles Wright, who was brought in last year. Quinn Ewers now looks to be the, big time favorite to land this job, and not just land this job, but have high expectations. So I want to get into what those expectations, are or should be at the end of the video. But overall, I'm excited for the talent, in terms of matching these tools, these young arms. Last night we watched Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert. And I keep telling people, Justin Herbert, to me, is the most talented young quarterback in all of football in terms of what I look for. It's subjective. You could, there's some people that could say Josh Allen, there's some people could say Kyler Murray or Mahomes. Justin or Trevor Lawrence, like, from what I look for, Justin Herbert, I think he was underrated coming out of college because some people thought he had that whole football might not be the most important thing to him. But in terms of last night, when you watch Mahomes and the gunslinger that he's at, which is actually very similar to Quinn Ewers, and a Justin Herbert who has a cannon for days, it's unbelievable just to see. It blows you off the screen. That's what both of these kids bring you in terms of just the wow and the arm talent ability. I mean, even this past Elite 11, Malik Murphy actually was finished ahead of Quinn Ewers in that competition. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, because right now it's been characterized as Quinn Ewers is the immediate impact. Everybody wants him. He's going to be your starter. And Malik Murphy's more of the long-term, let's work on him type project. But with the talent that we've seen and the way that these guys have competed, it's going to be interesting. And I know Steve will do everything he can, to at least try to have some semblance of a meritocracy. Now, we also must be realistic and understand that, guys didn't just come here to come here. There are certain things and parameters, especially with NIL, on the table to facilitate certain opportunities. But at the same token, Quinn Ewers was one of the most highly touted recruits in the last 10 years for a reason. And when you look at the Vince Youngs, who was the other, perfect rated player. And then I think from there it was like Trevor Lawrence, who's like a 99999, and Justin Fields, who's like a 99998. And all the guys recently, I mean, outside of DJ last year, DJ's still outstanding. He had a rough year this past year at Clemson. Outside of DJ, these top guys, dude, the floor is high. I'm talking about the top guys. I mean, I'll look at our current Heisman winner and Bryce Young, who was the number one quarterback overall for 2020. And just a year in, sits behind Mac, competed with Mac Jones for the job, and then comes out the following year. Now he's got Alabama in the playoffs. So in terms of the production and the wow factor and everything that comes, I've crapped on the recruiting rankings recently. However, at the top tier, these guys are top tier guys for a reason, because recently there haven't been a whole bunch of misses. So when you're thinking about what is the floor for what Texas could be getting, that floor is very, very high. And then the ceiling, the ceiling could be, immeasurable with what could be provided here. So I'm gonna speak as if, just from this particular standpoint, as if Quinn Ewers is, say, the lead dog in this room as of right now, right? Um, and that's not to dismiss Hudson Card and his talent, and him also having a leg up on everybody, also working with Steve so far. But in terms of just, let's say Quinn Ewers comes in and over the course of the spring, he wins the job, or they decide to kind of roll with him. Again, just follow me here. Us as Texas fans, what are our expectations and what are we willing to ride with? I'm not saying we got to be willing to ride with another 5-7 campaign. That should never happen here at Texas, regardless of personnel, regardless of staff. That is inexcusable. And while I am on board with the staff and Steve and everybody that's going on, last season is inexcusable, regardless of how you were losing the games. 5-7 is not good enough. It's not acceptable. It's horrible at the University of Texas. But that gives us, looking at rebuilding. Everybody's excited about the recruiting class right now. Because we finished with a top 5 class despite having, or not finished with, we're currently with a top 5 class. Recruiting's not over, going through February. But everybody's excited about the class. For us to be at this current point with a 5-7 record, not going to a bowl. And that's another thing. When you're not going to a bowl, all we have to look forward to is this. So all of the excitement and the buildup for Quinn Ewers and all these wonderful kids that are coming on board, a lot of that buildup is because we don't have nothing else to look forward to right now. We don't have a bowl to look forward to right now. If you're a Michigan fan, they also had a great recruiting class. A&M had a great recruiting class, but they also going to bowl games too. So there's more on the table than just us being hyper fixated on recruiting right now. And we should be, because that's all we got in front of us. But going back to the Quinn Ewers thing and setting these expectations, there still are going to be growing pains. He hasn't played college football yet. He's been in a college football room, took a couple snaps at Michigan State, handing the ball off. He hasn't played college football yet. And because we didn't have that patience with Hudson Card. Let's be real. Once we saw Hudson Card, and a big part of that was Casey Thompson. But once Hudson Card got into the mix and, things went south in Arkansas, we, as a fan base, we didn't have that patience. Let's move to Casey Thompson, right? And so we didn't have that patience for growing pains. And I've seen this happen before in our fan base as well with guys like Vince Young and Colt McCoy. And it's very easy right now to look back and say, oh, those guys were awesome at Texas and blah, 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 and forget the growing pains that they went through. So I want to set proper perspective here from 2 standpoints. Number one, history of Texas. When Colt McCoy was here, Colt McCoy wasn't even a big recruit. For those who don't remember the name, Ryan Paralleau, that was our dude. They're going after Ryan Paralleau. That fell through. Colt McCoy comes. Then the late Jevin Sneed comes through. He's the big recruit. We won at the time over Florida, or got him to flip from Florida. And it's redshirt freshman Colt McCoy versus true freshman Jevin Sneed. And Colt McCoy has a wonderful freshman year until he was injured at the end of the season. And, Jevin Sneed obviously goes and transfers to Ole Miss. Colt McCoy's sophomore year was growing pains. We completely forget about that because he was dynamite his junior year. He was dynamite his senior year. But Colt McCoy's sophomore year, that team did go 10-3 and Jamal Charles went nuts. But his sophomore year, we're talking about a 22-18 touchdown interception ratio. He was struggling, big time struggling his sophomore year. But we grew with him, right? And so what I'm saying is, if Ewers starts throwing picks or somebody's struggling, but they're showing signs, we got to be patient and grow with them through this. especially when we got the dynamite offensive guru and Steve Sarkisian, who, when you listen to Steve Sarkisian speak, the thing that he is most confident about is his ability to develop quarterbacks no matter what. I've said on this channel multiple times, because people want to act like this never happened. The calls for Vince Young to move to receiver his redshirt freshman year, after we decided to go all the way with him over another 5-star from the Woodlands and Chance Mock. And then Vince Young's sophomore year, where we were like, he's a great athlete, but will he ever get there as a quarterback? Will he ever, ever develop enough as a passer to get us there? And then he goes 3,000, 1,000 his junior year, and rest is history. 05 Texas, one of the greatest college football teams of all time. Vince Young goes 30-2 as a starter, whatever his overall record was. Unbelievable college career, as we saw it bake all the way through. So when you have talents like these, whether it's a high-end guaranteed 5-star guy or somebody who was, low on the recruiting scale like a Colt McCoy, but we saw him his freshman year and we saw enough to understand that, hey, this could be a long-term special player here at Texas, we have to grow with them. And the reason why I'm saying all this is because of the roster. Those guys I mentioned earlier, like a Trevor Lawrence came onto a loaded Clemson team. Please keep in mind that Clemson team, post Deshaun Watson winning a national championship over Bama, had Kelly Bryant take them back to the playoffs. In between that period of time that Trevor Lawrence came into the fold. So when Trevor Lawrence came into Clemson, he actually, remember, they did the back and forth thing with him for 4 games until Dabo didn't want Kelly Bryant to hit the portal. Kelly Bryant ultimately hits the portal, ends up at Mizzou. Trevor Lawrence takes over and wins the Natty his freshman year. But I can't compare Quinn Ewers and Trevor Lawrence or Vince Young, because both Trevor Lawrence and Vince Young stepped into loaded rosters. Vince Young's team, that roster had already been loaded up with all the talent, the 02 recruiting class, and all the recruiting classes before, when they got Chris Sims and everybody came through. Those rosters are very different. Right now, Quinn Ewers, as perfect composite ranking prospect, is stepping into a roster that is a rebuilding roster where we're doing an overhaul. So even with the talent that is here, yes, he will be a part of an amazing trio. Bijan Robinson, Xavier Worthy, and again, assuming he can defeat Hudson Carter or whoever that quarterback is, to be frank with you right now. Because what I'm saying about Quinn Ewers, again, that applies to Malik Murphy. Again, that applies to Hudson Card. Whoever is your starting quarterback here at Texas, you will be a part of a trio now with Xavier Worthy and Bijan Robinson. But it's not the same type of ready, baked playoff roster, or back in the day, a BCS roster that Vince Young stepped into with Cedric Benson and Roy Williams, or Trevor Lawrence with the gang of people they had on offense and defense, to where he can go through his growing pains, but they're still winning every single week. My expectation is simply this. We get back on track. We start winning, somewhere between 7 to 9 games next year, just to at least get back in the momentum, get back into a bowls. We really build and overhaul this. Now, what can make that quicker? What can make that quicker if you just cringed by hearing 7 wins, 7-5, or 8-4, 9-3, please go take a look at who we playing next year out of conference as well. But if you just cringed at that, please keep in mind, please keep in mind, we can move faster depending on what happens in the transfer portal. That's the only outlier that's still remaining here. Because I'm excited, just like everybody else, about the offensive line when we're coming in. Mr. Campbell out there, please come through. But if I can get some guys, again, to have that buffer and less ready to rock with our triplets that we think we have, we think we got something here, and we can get some more firepower on defense, especially some more pass rushers on defense. then yeah, maybe we can boost this thing up a little bit. And now we're looking at Quinn Ewers, kind of going through a rough spot or building, I don't want to say rough spot, but building versus the immediate success that somebody at like a Bryce Young can step into at Alabama that's already where the situation's already tailor-made, ready to go. Just keep these things in mind. I'm excited just like everybody else. I want the most talented people on board. You put that golden arm with Sark's offense, we're going to score hella points, win or lose next season. But please keep in mind, he is not stepping into a Clemson or he is not stepping into a O2 Texas. There's work here to be done. That's why all these kids, shout out to Derek Brown, all these kids that are recruiting their asses off, trying to get more talent on board and overhaul this thing and develop the culture here at Texas. So please, please, please keep that in mind. But anyway, Casey Thompson, thank you, brother. Best of luck. You will be, you'll have a lot of people rooting for you, regardless of where you end up in your football endeavors as well as professional endeavors. Graduating in 3 years, very, very impressive. Guys, happy holidays. BUSR.com, the official sports book, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. Hit up BUSR.com/Fanatic today. Hit that promo code HOLIDAYS21. We're matching free plays up to $1,500, 150% on your initial deposit. Free play money. Guys, I used my free play money I got when I first started partnered up with BUSR.com. This is facts. I used my free play money. I used some of that free play money and put it on Bryce Young to win the Heisman. It was plus 600, plus 650 odds. So that I had a great vacation. That enhanced my vacation. Drinks were on me at the bar that night. So shout out to BUSR, official sponsor, official sportsbook betting partner, Fanatic Perspective. Hit me in the comments what you think. My comments on expectations. Any farewells to Casey Thompson, and the impending spring battle between Hudson Card, Quinn Ewers, and Malik Murphy. Anyway, guys, remember, horns always up. Happy holidays.